Hello and Happy New Year. This is Conversations on NTA Network. Well, our topic today is very interesting and it's very profound. It's the kind of thing that you would like to hear or think about in the new year 2018. My name is Nike and in the house with me are...
I'm Zainab Sadiq.
My name is Devan.
And I am Emmanuel Uturi.
Okay, Emmanuel happens to be a life coach and our topic today is setting goals and objectives for the new year and how to achieve them. We'll take a quick break.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
So, setting goals for 2018 and how to achieve them. We have a full house today in the conversation room. Devan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Any resolutions this year?
No, I ordinarily don't set resolutions. I used to do it before. I noticed that I wasn't doing a good job of like following through, so I let it go. I can't remember the last resolution I set. And I can't remember if I was ever able to carry it more than a month or two.
Why are you laughing, Zainab?
I'm shocked you're asking this and I'm sitting here. Because,
Why?
everything she said and more. Maybe at gunpoint, if I have to make a resolution, is to get safely from now o'clock to 5 minutes later o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm surprised also because sitting here and hearing people say, go
Okay. I usually have like a long list, lose more weight, try and read a book a month, or, try to be a more prayerful person. There are the usuals that are, in most people's lists. So I try to keep up to them. I might not be, like you said, maybe 70% is okay. Maybe I'm not 70%, maybe 60, thereabouts. But I try each year to like strive harder to just be a better person. That's what I usually try to do.
Okay. Yeah, where I was coming from was with particular reference to New Year resolutions. Okay. I don't do that. But yes, I have set goals for myself. If we're talking about setting goals generally, because that, with the New Year resolution, it's usually either on the first day of the New Year or in that first week, you decide that, okay, this year I'm going to like this. So for that, no, I don't do it. But I know that with each passing day, I try to be a better person today than I was yesterday. Try to read out, because I don't think there's anybody more self-analytical than I am. Yeah, seriously. I've been told I overthink things and things like that. And I'm more self-critical than anything. So if I'm thinking that, okay, I'm not very happy with being this way, every day I take tiny steps in the direction of walking in the opposite direction, away from that thing that I don't like. So yes,
work professionally as a life coach and you have a lot of people who set these goals and then fall off the wagon for one reason or another, how do you get us to focus and stay on track? What are the tips that we can use?
Okay, to focus and stay on track, that's when we have set our goals.
Yes.
The most important thing is having set our goals, which brings about clarity at first, which I've talked about. The second thing we have to do is ability to remind ourselves all the time. I once trained someone who wanted to increase his sales. He was a salesman. He wanted to increase the amount of sales he was making in a year, annual sales. And I said, okay, whenever you're going out, what would remind you that every day you go out, you have to make enough sales? And we came up with a 5x7 pad, and he would always keep this in his pocket. And he wrote the goal he wanted to achieve at the end of the year. Okay. So, by whether by instinct or something we just do by routine, we always put our hands in our pockets, even in the middle of work. So every day when he's out for work, he gets to put his hand in his pocket, knowingly or unknowingly, and he touches what I want my finances to be, the kind of human being I want to be. In all areas of my life, I go into the tiniest detail and I put it on a board in form of a picture. So when I wake up every morning, I look at this picture because it's facing me. So I look at the picture and say, wow, so I have to do a lot today. So what is that little thing I can do today that would help me in whatever little way to get to where I'm going? Because big things comes from the little things we do.
Education, no matter what, if I want to achieve something, right, and it's a long way to get there, I also compartmentalize. When she said about writing things down and everything, at any given time in my bag, I have like 3 or 4 different notebooks. I make lists of everything I do, everything I need to do, everything I have done. Every day I keep journals, I keep diaries. Everything of mine is broken down and covered. And once I start and I see I still have a long way to go, and sometimes
you become disheartened.
I lose interest. I beg, that's what. That's it. I lose interest. There are some things you want to achieve, maybe economically or socially or whatever. But if it means, just talking about the topic, if it means I have to go back and do a PhD for that, please, I've given up. I don't want to.
But have you tried bringing these things close to yourself? What I mean is, when you talk about you want to
like a fictional check, right?
Yes, you've talked about economic goal or financial
example,
goal. Between now and the next 6 months, I want to earn X amount. For you to make that happen to you, actually, you have to be able to see the picture in the present. So what I'm saying is, have you tried writing yourself a dummy check?
That's it, like a fictional one?
Yes.
I have not, but I don't know. I still don't think. Okay, let me still use that normal example over the economic. Okay.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing a bank account balance of $100 million. I wouldn't mind that. Or let's be more realistic, maybe $3 million.
Okay.
I see people, they dress well, they go out of the country anytime. I see this, and I would want that for myself. But I still don't think it's enough for me to be running left and right just to achieve that. Sometimes there are things you want to do them, but once you start, is it worth it? I like, since I eat 3 times a day and I'm not sleeping hungry and I live in a good house and I have a car, it's not like
what I hear Zainab saying is that she's afraid to hustle. You don't want to hustle. You don't want to sweat.
In a polite way, I'm lazy.
That's why I was going to say that. No, I don't think you're lazy. I don't think it's laziness. I think it's a mind thing. I could be wrong because you're the expert here. But from my own thinking of it, I think it's a mental block. There's something.
Or if I'll be sincere, I'm afraid of disappointment. I'm afraid of failing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which still goes back to more. But I also think that she wouldn't be disappointed.
Yes, that means you're evolving into the kind of person you would have been if she were alive.
Yeah.
And that makes it your biggest goal in life. It's called legacy.
Okay.
The person you will have been if she were alive. If you're that person now, then there is reason to be free. And the truth of the matter is, it helps me to get prepared, to take responsibility, to be that person I ought to be when they're away. I'm not saying I won't have emotions. I'm not saying I probably have an inferiority complex. But there are things we must expect in life, and these are facts.
How will people remember me? Will they think on me kindly?
Yeah.
Will they remember me as, oh, that funny goofy person that used to make me laugh?
How will history see you?
Yeah, will they think of me as, oh, that person that did this really nasty thing to me and I'll never forgive? billions that have been located in somebody's house or under their bed, or one human being has acquired using government money. If it's your sweat, I have no problem with it.
Yes.
You know, you use the taxpayers' money to own half of Asokoro and things like this. I'm like, no, there's something I don't understand it. I don't know where our mentality shifted.
Do you know, I'm just trying to be funny,
Yes.
not really serious. That could have been the person's goal all along.
Yes,
To get leadership and enrich themselves. That could have been their goal, and
So
they're achieving
goals
it.
differ from people.
Yes,
It doesn't
you
have
know,
to be a good goal.
Saying goal
Yes.
does
Something
not
like that.
mean you are trying to be a good person,
True.
or you're trying to impact positively on people. Or you're trying, you know, I will never forget, and I'll never regret. This is an old something that happened somewhere deep in extended family, and somebody was telling me there's somebody in a family that married this lady, and she was really nasty to him. He had a very bad. They eventually separated, but whoa, she was really nasty. Then one of our friends was telling us that right from when she was a teenager, there was a time she was watching a movie, and in the movie there was a wife that was very harsh to her husband. She was, you know, an iron lady, and this particular girl looked and was like, this is exactly how I want to deal with my husband. This is exactly how I want to deal with it. And people were like, she said, no, ma'am. She said, this lady in the TV, she's a heroine to me. She's a role model. So she did that. And she got married years later. And by accident or design, that's how she dealt with her husband. Many people didn't know she said this. So much later, somebody hears, she once said this. So she achieved her goal. She might have forgotten she has even said it. But for the person that remembered, she did. So you see, goals are not necessarily positive. We have people that leave their homes, they set out to defraud others, they set out to rob others, they set out to cheat.
Yes.
These are goals. So we have to look at the fact that when we say goals, it just means having an ambition or desire or plan to do something and going through with it. So there might be a leader that actually spent good money in campaigns to get to that position and recoup their money and even more.
Yes.
So for actually that's it.
What you have said is really is good and it's correct. It's very correct. Goals are not just positive; there are negative goals as well. I've seen families where you have a father who is a drunkard, who's into alcoholism, and has two kids. And at the end of the day, after years of these kids living with a family, the father decides to take after his father. So what strikes the difference? It's what motivates them. One feels he wants to be in authority like his father. The other one feels to be someone who has authority. You do not need to do it by force. You probably have to model someone who understands how to still be in authority but not forcefully. So what motivates us is actually what decides whether we go make our goals positive or negative. What would you say about Adolf Hitler that killed millions?
You're reading
and
my mind.
Mother Teresa, who sacrificed her life to take care of the less privileged.
And by the way, they were both Catholic.
Yes,
He was?
Oh yeah?
yes.
He was a Catholic.
What did you think
I
he
didn't
was
know that.
Jewish?
And before anybody gets upset, I'm Catholic too. so I'm not trying to.
No, it doesn't
say
matter.
to-
Mother Teresa was a good person, so
And
even
you are
if
the-
you say
Yeah,
that,
I'm
No
just
problem.
trying to like
I get
say
it.
how
it out,
polar
yeah.
opposites they
Yeah.
they
Maybe
are.
you're the Mother Teresa of today. If you have such goal in mind, it only means that what we look at some things and we ask ourselves, why is this? Why is it like this? And you want to change that. And some people feel, why shouldn't it be? And they go ahead and become that model. But I think one of the things we need to also do today is to ensure that parents understand their place in the lives of their children. Because every adult today, every Adolf Hitler today, every Mother Teresa today learned from someone. And the parent at a point in time had the opportunity and ability to shape the person's ideology, even if the environment weren't good enough to support the child. So as parents, we have a lot to do.
But if I'll ask you, it's interesting you said this, you know, it's really interesting, but I'll
Yes.
ask, You told us about two brothers
Yes.
who ended up, they had the same goal of being in authority,
Yes.
but they turned out different, all of them but they had the same parents.
Yes.
So is it more about the parents, or about the parents knowing how to parent each particular child?
Because different children have different needs.
Yes, yeah, these are two siblings, same
Yes.
mother, same father, but one of them did this to achieve A, and the other person did this to achieve the same A.
Yes.
So could it have been not just being a parent, but being the right parent for child A, at the same time being the right type of parent for child B?
True. Very true. It has to be the right parent for child A. But if you look at the world, there are always rules or laws of exception. So research has shown that about 70-80% of families are dysfunctional. So
70 to 80%.
80%,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
Dysfunctional.
I
Of
can
course.
totally
Even
believe
in
that.
my own family.
I think that my
I totally
family
believe it.
is you know, in the 20%. Probably not.
Oh, maybe, but
Because-
70-80% of families are dysfunctional.
No, it depends on what you define as
Because there are
dysfunctional.
issues that most families will not bring into the open.
yeah.
Well,
Very.
true,
So
true.
it makes us save face to make our family look good. Nobody will go into the marketplace to talk.
Okay.
I would have wanted Jim Rohn to mentor me, and one time coach like I am today, and most of his philosophies I've read in books. I do not have the opportunity to meet them. So here is what I advise: that the people who do not have access to, you pick their books to get their thoughts.
Okay.
You pick their video or their audio materials, or find someone who has directly learned from them and
Okay.
let them work with you so you can gain. So it doesn't have anything to do with you meeting them physically.
Okay.
It also saves you on one side. There are times we look forward to this mentor and these great people, and when we meet them, a particular aspect of their life disappoints us.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
that happens to me sometimes.
It happens all the time because
Yeah.
usually you have this larger than life perspective.
Yes,
You
in
place
mind.
them on a pedestal and everything, and then you encounter them and they're just like any other human being.
Yeah.
And
you're
it
like,
crushes it crushes almost everything that
Yeah.
you
That usually happens to me with like some of the brilliant American singers. They sing so passionately about love and relationships, and then next thing I hear, their marriage has crashed or he slapped his wife. I'm like, but you talk about love so strongly. What happened?
you are going
it
too
really-
far away. I'm talking about, people right here and now in this space that I used to be like, this person is so like, oh, my. You know, you grow up watching TV, you're seeing these names and everything. And there was one particular TV person I encountered, of course, whose name I'll not mention.
Yes.
The person is late now. And I had the misfortune of having to work with this person for like 2 or 3 years at a stretch, and this person bullied the daylights out of me.
Why did you call it misfortune?
If you bullied her?
No.
I'm referring to the bullying.
Okay,
the bullying
bullying.
part.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I ordinarily would have liked to work with this person because this is somebody whose name I always saw, on the end credits.
Yes.
This person. And then I had the opportunity to work with this person. And the person was all too human.
Not what you bargained for.
No.
No, all too human
And
is
the
even
stars.
saying it in a good way. Because
Yeah, I
humans
don't
are
want,
not bullies.
like I said, the
Yeah.
person is not
What
here
it is,
anymore.
yeah.
So the twinkle went out of my eyes.
Yeah. We'll take a quick break. Today in the conversation room, we're talking about setting goals in 2018 and how to achieve them. We'll be right back after this.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and
Yeah.
say,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes.
See if she wants to ask something. No, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me. Remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
Welcome back to Conversations here on NTA. We're talking about setting goals and how to achieve them in this new year. Aisha, I know you had something to say along the line, right?
Yes, she was talking about when you put people on a pedestal and then you meet them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember as a child too, I will still use an example of TV stars, and I went to this TV occasion events and I met so many people then that you saw on Soap Press. I was so excited, and none of them bullied me. None of them, in fact, they were all so sweet. I was an 11-year-old child. I take this. But then later, I saw them behaving like ordinary human beings. Some of them, 1 or 2 of them had an altercation between themselves, shouting among themselves. 2 or 3 were drinking. I come from the conservative north, and that's not really a good habit. And I'm like, so it was a lot of disappointment. But that's people. But there's another thing. It's not just people. It's even events. It's situations. Before we started recording, we were talking about small children and everything. I'm like, I'm not so much into children. I'm into animals. I love animals so much. I'm crazy about animals.
Okay.
Wow.
Like
And
farm animals or domestic?
every animal, be you lizard, be you wild
Wild animals?
I'm crazy. It might be the
lizard,
Fulani blood in me.
Okay.
When I got downstairs a few minutes ago, there was a dog, there was a puppy. I was like, oh, who's that?
Everybody
Who's that?
loves
Oh,
puppies.
I love
wow.
animals. And I've always wanted to be a veterinary doctor. My entire everything. If you are not a vet, don't even talk to me. It changed just one day. One day, I never studied veterinary medicine. I was watching a TV program and I was like 13, 14 years old, all prepared to be a veterinary doctor. Then there's this documentary on farm animals and livestock and other stuff. Then there's this veterinary doctor that was being interviewed, and he was talking about how they go and they look at the animals, their state of health and everything, in order to certify them fit for human consumption. That was the only thing that man said, and it took me. I'm like, a veterinary doctor, as far as I'm concerned, due to my love for animals, is to save these animals' lives, to help them. Now you are certifying them fit to be killed.
And you're not vegetarian.
No, I'm not. But I was so angry, I was disappointed, I was disgusted. From that day on, I said, I am not going to go into a profession that is going to certify animals fit for killing. And I stepped off. I did not even study sciences. I studied arts, I moved into media, I did everything. My daughter now is desperate to be a veterinary doctor, and I'm encouraging her. I'm still with animals all the time. But you see, just that thing I saw turned me off. I started seeing all veterinary doctors as hypocrites. You know,
So you moved away from pain.
okay, that's the theory,
Yes.
right?
Walked away
Yes,
from
Pleasure
pain.
yes,
principle.
yes. Because my daughter, why she wants to be a veterinary doctor is she loves animals, playing with kittens, with puppies. 3-4 weeks ago, I fostered some kittens. Their mother died. I picked them in. I was raising them from 2 weeks old and everything. So one of them died, and the other one took sick. So I took it to a veterinary doctor in Maitama, and it was a good place. So I told them my daughter wants to be a veterinary doctor, and she's just about to enter university. Can I bring her over to see how you work?
Sir,
She's constantly watching veterinary doctor programs on TV. Then the woman was like, okay, why? Because I said, I want her to know veterinary medicine is not about playing with puppies and cuddling kittens. There's also death. There's disappointment. There's depression. It's dirty. It's dangerous. Let her see those parts of, because that kitten I had was really sick. Still, it eventually died, even the second one. So I was telling them, I want her to come in and see that there are times you actually have to put down an animal. You actually have to, there are times that you go to feed an animal and it kicks you to dislocate you. It can, it can break.
It can harm you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want her to see that before she makes the decision. Not partway into it, and then she starts seeing animals abused, dead, dying, and it turns out like it's Disney when it's
Which is quite true actually,
That's
because everybody, like there was some, we were talking during the break, and we
Yes.
spoke about how things can just happen to you in the blink of an eye,
an eye.
just turn 360 degrees overnight and that kind of thing. And I can count any number of times where it was a word, maybe not even directed at me,
yeah.
that changed my perspective on something, a program I watched on TV, how somebody I'm not even close to lives their lives, and so on and so forth. And well, that's just the dynamics of life, I guess, and everything. But as we were saying earlier, so we don't digress too much, we're talking about goal setting, we talked about it from the personal perspective,
Yes.
personal growth, and so on and so forth. Nigeria is our country. We are in a new year. There's been whole lots of disappointment expressed for the government. It's not the first time. Every government is criticized, and those who will insult, and those who will worship the people in power do, and so on and so forth. But the fact remains that, say for me, for instance, I call myself a Buharist. Yeah, because it's not that I'm an APC person or necessarily a PDP person, but I believe in Buhari, the person.
Okay.
And more recently, his vice, Osinbajo, which I hesitate to pronounce the name because yeah,
I know.
So, but later suddenly developed a penchant for building statues and
Sculpting.
Yeah, sculpting, I guess.
Okay.
Then there's one other governor who cannot, is it pay salaries or what, but has
Yeah.
all this money to buy cars for legislators. And there's so much weirdness going on that you're wondering, do these people have goals for us? When it's already 2 years in, you know, we're in 2018, yeah? By May, it's 3 years. What's going on?
Yeah.
When are we going to start seeing the dividends of this change? I mean, there's been some change, but the extent to which we were expecting that change, I think not many people are, too like, oh, yeah, I'm all there and everything. So I don't know. I really think our governor, I don't know, maybe this is not a very good thing to say on TV. I don't 100% believe that democracy is the best thing for Nigeria. I don't think it's every nation that is ready for democracy at every time.
Really?
Yes.
First time in
Well-
my life, I'm hearing somebody say what I've been saying for the last 200,000 years.
I think,
Honestly.
yes, I think a
Oh.
benevolent dictatorship, for instance.
Is there such a thing though?
Yes, there is. That was what worked for, was it Malaysia? No, Singapore.
Singapore, they keep
Singapore.
talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have a benevolent dictator, you don't have people running around goofing all over the place and then doing weird stuff, and then people are suffering, and you cannot say anything to them. Look at any number of people at the National Assembly and the weird things they do. They have any fleet of exotic cars that you can absolutely be certain is not coming from their salary. What were you doing before you came to the Senate? If you're a business tycoon, okay, that's different. But if you are like maybe a civil servant or just any regular person, you go to the National Assembly and then all of a sudden you have 10 houses in Dubai.
If you're looking at it, if you could look at it from the other side, I'm really keeping quiet on this stuff because I'm not into current affairs. I don't know what's happening on the political arena deliberately. I don't want tension. I don't have high blood pressure. Please let me just do my things
me get
inside
by.
out. Yeah, so I really keep away from all this.
Okay.
But from what she said is true. What she says makes a lot of sense. But still, I always like giving the benefit of the doubt. She said there has been change, but not fast enough, not good enough. Is it because there's this house saying that it's easier to destroy than to build? There
obviously.
was too much destruction on ground. We so it's going to be. But then while this mending is going on, it is still in our nature to destroy some more. But I would like to blame social media and regular media are actually amplifying. There's problems that have been on ground for like 20 years that have not. I'm from the far north, and there's a problem there that has been there for centuries, or maybe even before independence. When it started, it was not considered a problem because really it wasn't a problem then. It was how the social life was. If you're talking about the Almajiri system, originally Almajiris were just students that were sent out of to tackle this, but it's not going through. I had been at an airport in my state. I was flying to Lagos. Flying is the more expensive way, right?
Yes.
And I saw a family, or well, a group of at least 10 or 15 people. All of them were flying to Lagos to beg. They were Almajiris.
Really?
But they have made enough money.
Could it be that somebody is funding the trip?
Who will fund a trip for you to go and beg?
Doesn't make sense.
No, then it means it's a business. The government should address that.
I see.
It's a business. These people, I saw them myself. Old women, young women, babies, teenage boys. They were flying in an aircraft that I was flying to. I was supporting for work. They were going to work.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand?
Wow.
And this is a bad thing. With the insurgency, some people have become beggars, whether they want to or not. You know, I have family connections with the Northeast.
People are displaced.
Maiduguri, yes. They have no choice. So the government should address that.
Not having a choice is different from willfully being able. I get the history of it. I get the history of it. But I also remember that Emir Sanusi tried, I think he spoke up about this sometime in 2017, and he almost got lynched on social media.
Yeah.
You know, he said something about like polygamy is not compulsory. In fact, I think in Islam the injunction is you can only marry more than one wife if you can treat all of them equally.
Yes.
So in fact, I think that clause was even put in to discourage it, because it's very hard to treat people exactly the same. So he was saying, look, if you're poor, stay with your one wife. Have the children you can afford and everything. You don't need to marry 4 wives and then some. You go beyond the Islamic injunction and marry 10 and do the traditional. It's not necessary. Who are you having all those children for? And they almost killed the man on social media. You know.
In today's world, there is a saying that leadership is responsible, and that's if anything happens the wrong way, you talk about leadership, you blame them, and if it happens the right way, you say, oh, you've done well. So that's why we say leadership is responsible. I think followership is also good, in as much as we're trying to x-ray the leadership of our nation, talking about the federal government today. But the followers also, the governors. A state cannot survive alone from getting allocations from the federal government.
The federal government, yeah.
If you have 4 years to spend as a governor, I think there are things we then the child sees that, oh, my parents cannot take care of me. So at an early age, the child might be forced or pushed out to go do things that he or she does not want to do. For example, we know about the state cannot continue to depend on, okay, let us keep governance going, provided we can pay salaries. We won't grow.
True.
That
It should
way.
go beyond salaries.
Yes, because if we do the easy things that we've always done, we will remain that way. But if we do the hard things, our lives will be easy. So it's a matter of choice of, so what do we want to do today? What would the people we call leaders also with the federal government, now I'm talking about the state government, what are they willing to do today? Most people aren't looking at the future, they're looking at the next election.
Yeah.
We're supposed to look at what will happen whether I win or I don't, because politics, I would say, it's not a game. So it doesn't have to be about winning or losing. It ought to be, what will the citizen who have put me there, they have to hold me accountable. What will they benefit? But we're always thinking about ourselves, and we won't grow this way. Nigeria will only become what it ought to be when we start thinking.
What are you leaving behind? How will the people, how will history remember you? Will history be kind to you or not so kind? We're running out of time. It's been a very fantastic topic, you know, setting objectives and trying to reach them, not just for ourselves as individuals, but even the government as itself, state government, federal government. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for coming in.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Our social media handles are up there. What are your resolutions? What are your plans for 2018? We would love to hear from you here in the conversation room. We have our Facebook handle, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. Please look out for us, and let's hear your feedback as well. My name is Nika, and I'll be signing off on behalf of the conversation team. And with me, I have...
I'm Zainab Sadiq. Thank you for watching.
The name is Mom, Diva Mom. See you again next time.
And I'm Emmanuel Okuri. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again soon.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You're here already?
No. Now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jab questions.
How about Chief?